How you doing, guys? My name is Patrick McGuire, and I'm going to be telling you guys about liability issues and disaster. So, what is a liability? A liability is the state of being responsible for something. It is the legal obligation to indemnify a person, community, or population that has been harmed. There are two different types of liabilities. One of them is negligence. Negligence is the failure to use reasonable action resulting in damage or injury to another person. Usually, it's an unintentional wrongful act. An example would be the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in 2011. This was in Japan when the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was damaged from the tsunami and earthquake that hit. The damages caused insufficient cooling, which led to nuclear meltdowns, hydrogen air chemical explosions, and the release of radioactive material. The nuclear power plant was sued for negligence because it had failed to meet basic safety requirements such as risk assessment, preparing for containing collateral damage, and developing evacuation plans. There are 5 elements which must be proved in order to sue a person, company, or organization for negligence. Duty is whether the company owes a duty to the victim. Breach of duty is failing to exercise reasonable care in fulfilling the duty. Cause and fact, which is proving that the company's actions are a result of the injury. Proximate cause is the scope of the company's responsibility. Lastly, damages, which is legally recognizing the harm. Other examples of negligence during a disaster could be poor governmental response. For example, a confusion implementation pattern where the local, state, and federal level have no coordination or communication with each other would be negligence, because they're not fulfilling their duties. Poor leadership is another example of negligence. This could be from the president all the way down to the mayor of a small town. It could be from making poor decisions to making false promises to the community. All of these are irresponsible, unmindful actions from an organization whose sole purpose is to protect the community. Another type of liability is strict liability. Strict liability holds a person or entity responsible for unintended consequences of his or her actions. For example, let's say there's a construction company that's building a road in a mountain area where the workers come across a huge rock. Despite the road being right above a neighborhood, the construction company decides to place TNT and blow the rock to pieces. After blowing it up, one of the pieces hits a toddler who's outside playing frisbee. Now, these parents are allowed to sue the company for pain and suffering as well as medical bills because they're strictly liable in this situation. Now, McNulty Construction was going about their business, so negligence is not the issue. The issue is that the activity of blasting obviously carries dangers, one of them being flying debris. There are many ways to prevent liabilities during a disaster. Setting up mutual aid agreements, like facilitating rapid mobilization of personnel, equipment, and supplies, is one way. Standard operating procedures are vital to preventing liabilities during a disaster. All the personnel must know who to go to and what to do dependent on the disaster. So they should know what to do if there's a flood, an earthquake, or a tornado. The staff should always be well equipped, knowledgeable, and efficient. This goes down from volunteers to FEMA workers and even up to government officials. Lastly, using the chain of command. Whether it be a bottom-up procedure or a top-down, everyone should know who to go to. This goes down to communications and coordination. Thanks, guys. I hope you learned something.